Hello, my name is Michael Osayi. I was a left tackle for Middletown Blue Raiders, graduation class of 2016, and I played under head coach Brett Myers.
What years did you play?
So I played through the 2012 season to 2015 season.
You said Brett Myers was your head coach. Was he your only head coach?
His very first year was the first year I was playing varsity. Coach Myers' inaugural season was I kind of stuck with him the whole way through.
Do you have any memories about Coach Myers that you don't mind sharing?
I think I remember one of the best things is just like the tone shift whenever he first came in, because we had some guys that had been there for a while, and some of us new guys coming in, but you could tell he was like ready to start something new, and like he was like really ready to like push the hard work ethic right from the start, and like you didn't have time, like there wasn't going to be like we're just transitioning. It's like we have a job to do right now and we have to move forward. And I think that like pretty much started day one of practice. He's very involved, and I think that like shows, and he does a good job of just like showing that, and like it pretty much gave us the push we wanted to, because I think that season we ended up turning things around from like what the previous team had done very quickly, and that's just because it was just a different expectation right away, and that's like one of the biggest impressions he had like from the jump.
So would you agree that it was a culture change?
Yes, very much so, and that's one of the most important parts of being like a head coach, and that's something that he made sure he established right from the very beginning, and that's what was going to be happening.
Do you remember how you turned out your sophomore year?
We finished up 6-4 that year.
Okay, so it was a big improvement. And how much do you contribute that culture change to Coach Myers and his philosophy?
Well, one of the things that I think the coaching staff does really well is emphasize fundamentals, and like that is like pretty much put into your system from the start of being in the program, so you know what they expect of you, and then like it basically comes down to how well do you want to execute what's being asked of you to do. So the fact that like you get a full game plan of what you're supposed to be doing is something that like I think contributed a lot to the success the team has had since he's like stepped up as the head coach, because his philosophy hasn't changed much, but like he preaches what you need to do to be the best football player possible, and there's no question as to what that is. It's just how much do you want to put in, and that translates to success that we've seen under him.
Have there been any other coaches besides Coach Myers that made an impression on you?
Um, the whole staff has really. One I want to take time to like talk about is Michael Dupes. He's been like a mentor to me. When I was in college playing ball, I would like come back and talk. I would text him occasionally, and he's always been someone I could like turn to if I need anything, or just like to talk about the game. Whenever I was playing here, he was also phenomenal at making sure you knew what was to be done. He has a great sense of bringing intensity with him to every practice, and that's like something I really admire about him, because he makes sure that he's ready to go and energized, and like the team feeds off the energy that he brings, and you bring that mentality to practice with you. It translates to very successful practices whenever you have a guy that's always like pushing you to do stuff. Some other guys, Dustin Green, J. Joy Ortiz, Robert Pelletier were some of my coaches as well, and like just being very like player oriented coaches, people that could relate back to players, and like they care about what's going on with them. I think that just goes beyond football, and that also translates when you have people that care about the kids first. That translates to success on the field as well, because you know it's coming from a family basis, which translates to I want to work hard for these people.
My next question, you kind of already answered about what qualities did your coaches teach you? Is there anything else you wanted to add with that?
I think like just the importance of showing up every day ready to work is just something that was like that's just been like a tenant. Like you hear about past guys like talking about like even the coach at Sierra, or like you hear about like people like talking like on like Middletown teams. I think like hard work is like one of the core values of just the program in general. So that's something that I personally feel was very much ingrained in me, that like, and I think that helped me translate to success even after I left Middletown, was just like I'm going to outwork everyone that's like around me in that kind of space, especially when I went to college.
Said you moved to Middletown from a very young age. What kind of qualities do you think the town has instilled in you?
I think it's a very much like tight knit kind of town. Like maybe like something that you would see where it's like community that's like knit together. You see so many things happen here and there, something like that. But the thing that's like great about Middletown is it's always a town about people reaching out to help each other. When someone's in trouble, whenever one of those like core like people are like, whenever someone like gets in like a jam, like you can always count on people in the town to like reach out and support and help each other. And I think that just helps you as a person because like you see that around you, that gets ingrained in your personality. And whenever it might not be you in that situation, you're willing to reach out, or whenever you might get in a situation where it might not be the best thing, you have people around you to have your back.
Walk us through what a typical game day would be like for you.
So my game day was pretty much more of a quiet before the storm type of game day for being at school. Most of the time I would just like keep to myself, be quiet. I was focused on what was going to happen after school was over. Still got done what I had to get done in class, but my mind was on what the night's going to bring. And as soon as school is over, it's just like a different energy when you're walking towards the locker room. And like, it's not a practice day. It's not like a film review day. It's game day. So as soon as school was out, I would typically be quiet from maybe until right before we went out into the locker room. But music is was a big part of my game day experience. I thrived off of my playlist. I knew it didn't really change much once the season started. Maybe in between seasons it would change a bit, but like that music, you hear certain songs, you hear them week after week. Your brain kind of starts to associate those songs with the game day atmosphere, and it kind of gets you in that mode to be able to ready to go. So being a lineman, I would stay in the locker room a little bit longer, so I had more time with that music to listen to and connect with it. And once I was listening to that, like once it was time to go, I flipped the switch. I'm normally more of a quiet, reserved guy, but it's a different atmosphere on game day, and it's more once the storm hits, then I'm more energized as like a player and like as a person. But until then, it's just slowly building up throughout that day until it's time to actually go on the field for warmups and then let it all out.
Give us a few samples of who was on that playlist. What were your go-to songs?
So most of it was hip hop and rock. Drake on there, Kendrick Lamar, a little bit of Kanye West. I had a few songs from like a couple of like Japanese anime. There were like a couple of those that were like kind of like rock songs, but I really found I really enjoyed them, so I would put them on there. But rap and rock were pretty much my two main pillars in the game day playlist.
The Japanese anime is interesting. I don't think I'll hear that from anybody else. Coach Myers comes from my head coach, Coach Etsy, which is an old school type of dude. Did he give you quizzes before games?
Yes, those happened the day beforehand. So
Okay, so he kept that tradition going. What are your experiences like for our home field of War Memorial Field?
War Memorial Field, a special place. Even going to like college stadiums, like high school stadiums all over. When you go to away games, I've been like across the state, like in different, like just like looking at different, like, but like War Memorial Field's different. It has like a different atmosphere. It's just like aesthetically different. Like you don't really see that many like home size bleachers that long and that spread out. The wall at the end of this end zone, that's different. Like it's just like a very unique place for a high school field to be. And like I think that just adds to like the atmosphere and the culture around it. It's a different beast. And when you go and you pull in, it's a lot of places you'll have their high school field like at the school, but like War Memorial Field is its own entity within town. So you kind of have to like take that trip through town to get to the field. And I think that just adds to the appreciation of it. Whenever you see that M painted in the middle center field on a game night, it's just a whole different animal.
Did you go to a lot of games growing up?
So I started primarily going towards games like when I was in middle school, like 6th or 7th grade. I wasn't very much into football until like I was about in 5th grade. Then I started like appreciating it more. Then when I started playing for boys club, that was like the hangout spot after a Friday practice would be go to the games. Same when I was playing a freshman ball. But yeah, I've had a decent amount of experiences as a spectator as well as being on the field myself.
So what about Middletown fans? What would you say about them, or how would you describe them?
They are ride or die for their team. That's what I would say about Middletown fans. You're not going to find a fan base that travels well, like much like like we travel very, very well for a fan base. The Middletown fans are very, very active during a game. They are not passive whatsoever. Doesn't matter what the situation in the game is. Doesn't matter who we're playing. It doesn't matter anything about that. Middletown fans are engaged within a game, and that goes all the way from the band, the student section, the parents, the community. Middletown fans are just as much ready for game day as the players are when it comes to being ready to participate and be a part of the atmosphere.
All right, please do your best to finish this sentence. The Blue Raiders that I looked up to were
Nick Drawball and Stephen Kane are two to come to mind. Melvin Fager as well. Those are some of the guys that were seniors when I was a sophomore. And they were coming into a new experience for their senior year. And they had a summer where they didn't really have like a head coach, so they didn't know what was going on, what was going to happen for their senior year, but they pretty much stayed the course. So they were like good. They were very good mentors. Whenever those guys became team captains, I just know like they were very good for just being and holding the team together and like getting us through this new situation where we were like working a lot harder than like maybe some of the guys were used to, but they embraced it and they took the challenge full on. They were just like excellent players as well as like excellent leaders. Another one that comes to mind is Connor Legor. He helped out with the boys club a little bit, but I looked up to that guy as a guy that was like playing on Friday nights when I was in boys club, and like someone who came from practice at the high school to come help out with boys club and also help these young guys out in growing before they got to the next level.
So what do you miss most about playing Middletown football?
I think it's the atmosphere. I think that like you get a special atmosphere to kind of how I was going back to before with the fans and like the stadium. Like Middletown's a very unique atmosphere, and I think even as I like played different levels of football, like the Middletown atmosphere was something that like couldn't be replicated anywhere else that I was a part of. And like it's a show, it's the Friday night show, and that's what the town's centered on a Friday night during the fall. And like it's all about what's going on from like the players to the like state, like to the fans in the stadium. So like there's only a couple opportunities in life where you get to be in that kind of situation, and like that's something that I miss specifically about Middletown.
Who would be your favorite Middletown football player if you have one?
I think Jose Lopez, who recently graduated. We didn't really get to interact much. I graduated shortly after he joined the team, but just like getting to follow him a lot. I think and like getting to like come around. I helped out with like the weightlifting program over the past couple summers. I think he's a good embodiment of what it means to be a Blue Raider. He's a hardworking kid. He's a good kid. He's an excellent athlete that like tries to work in the community, and I just saw him step up as leader. And even though I didn't really get much time to like talk to him, watching him from the shadows and seeing how he was like representing Middletown football was pretty neat to watch.
And what about teammates? Do you have any favorite teammates that you had?
So most of the guys that come to mind are two from my graduating class. Those are guys that you go for the grind for the longest. Jared Reif, Caleb Legor, Justin Shaver. A lot of those guys I graduated with, Nathan Norris. We're the first group to go with Coach Myers from sophomores to seniors the full way. And just like being through that together the whole time and just like playing together as growing up, those were some of my favorite teammates because those people you develop the closest bonds with, because those are the people you're playing with the longest, people you get to know, and the people that you grind it out with.
Is there any one win that sticks out as, a favorable memory?
So we had a lot of like good wins when I was playing, but one that definitely sticks out above the rest is my senior night. We had an undefeated Camp Hill coming in 9-0. They were looking to finish the season undefeated, and this was the last time I was ever going to be on the field. So that was the game to like get it done and like be like and take in the moment, like stepping on the field. That moment, you just like know like there is no tomorrow. Metaphorically, like this is it. And not only was it senior night, it was the last game of the regular season as well. So like that's potentially the last time I was ever playing on the field. We were 7-2 at the time. 7-2. So this game was pretty much the game to cement our season and cement our legacy. And we were going to go to playoffs after that if we won. So they had a very highly talented team. They had a quarterback that was going to be a walk on at Penn State. They had a running back that was pretty good, but we worked hard all week. The game plan was phenomenal, and we pretty much shut them down. It came down to the wire. I believe the score was 24-21, I believe, at the end. Don't quote me on that one, but I just remember sticking out. It was like whenever it was like finalized and we took the knee, and I just like got to take it all in one last time. There's not really a better way to end out your career at War Memorial Field than upsetting a #1 team who hasn't lost yet, and finishing out career that. And that actually allowed me to play one more game before I was all said and done.
So what jersey number did you wear?
I wore a 74. Since my name is Michael Osayi, it kind of goes. People who are familiar with the Blind Side movie, I played the same position. I have the same initials as Michael. So that movie came out when I was in like middle school, and I kind of just stuck with 74. Kind of, my nickname was Big Mike, and I kind of just stuck with that through high school and college, and I wore that jersey number.
Can you give us any information about you playing football after Middletown High School?
So after Middletown, I went to Wilkes University, a small private school near Scranton, PA. I was fortunate enough I was converted to right tackle when I was there. It was a different experience because there was some stuff that I had to learn there and like doing a new playbook. But the cool thing about Wilkes University, which I'm going to attribute to Middletown a lot, is I was able to be a 4-year starter there. And I was able to come in a camp where a lot of freshmen were there. There wasn't many upperclassmen, but I quickly picked up on the playbook, and I felt like going through training camps at Middletown were a lot harder than I had at the next level. So it wasn't a matter of just being in shape or like working people. It was more of like how fast can I learn the system, because I had already been through it, like going for 4 years of Middletown training camp. So while some of these guys weren't used to hard college practices, I was in the space where I've been through worse than this. So let me just like play to the best of my ability and show what I can do. And that translated to me being able to start from game one of my freshman career all the way to when I was done as a senior. And I'm fortunate for that opportunity to be able to play in there 4 years, because that's not something a lot of guys get to do. And to be able to start all 4 years is another privilege that I was able to be afforded to me.
Can you share with me about the degrees you're working towards and the degrees you have already earned?
So I graduated from Wilkes University in 4 years with an undergrad in communications and a minor in sports management. I've taken that to East Stroudsburg University, where right now I'm pursuing a master's degree in leadership and sports management.
Are there any memories, that you want to share? They could be funny, nostalgic, serious, life-changing, painful, anything like that, any type of memories that you want to share about your experience with Middletown football?
I think the one that like sticks out to me is like just like a life memory in general. Like this is like one of just like my most like proud life memories. After that Camp Hill game, the day before, coach told us a story about someone who wanted to go on the field one last time after they were a senior, or maybe he told it earlier in the season. And like that resonated with me, like how special War Memorial Field is. So after the win against Camp Hill, we were all packing up our stuff, and everyone was starting to get on the bus. The people were packing up their bags, getting ready to go back. And I asked coach if I could go on the field one last time. So he let me. So I ran out to the M, give it a quick pat, thanked it for everything that's been allowing me to grow and like helped me grow up the past 4 years, and then ran off. But like no one was around pretty much. The fans had pretty much left the field for the most part. Everyone was gone. It was just me and the M one last time, being able to give it a quick send off for all the life experiences they've given me over the past like couple of years. And I thought that was a special occasion. And that's something that stuck with me. Just like one of like my biggest life memories.
Do you mind sharing your employment with us?
So right now I am currently the ISS monitor at the high school, and also I'm an assistant coach on the Middletown staff. I was for this past season, and depending on how things go with going back to school, I plan to stick around as long as I possibly can, because it's a pretty good experience.
So you are coaching with your former coach?
Yes, I'm getting to see the opposite side of it a little bit, and getting to be more of a mentor. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your time. Wish you the best of luck with your studies, your coaching career. I think Middletown is better off with you on the staff. So, good luck moving forward.
Thank you for having me on, and thanks for asking questions. I think what you do is important. There's a lot of people in the community that appreciate the effort that you put into like the page. I know when I first saw it, it was like something that was like I was ready to hop on and join that page as quick as possible. Something I was telling some people close to me was like, you get like experiences like playing places and stuff like that, and you get like different like mindsets, but like there's something different about like being part of Middletown, like that you just don't get anywhere else. And like having that group and seeing like all the pictures and seeing all the stats and stuff, it's something special.
Well, I appreciate your kind words. I can't take credit for starting that Facebook page. I was one of the first people to jump on it because I was like you, like, oh, that's a pretty cool idea. But Mike Treader is actually the guy that started that. I guess I'll ask you one more question too. Do you have any funny Coach Myers stories?
Let's see. This is was more shocking than but we were specifically my sophomore year, so we were doing the shoots and we were like in like the lineman shoots, and I remember we had a sophomore or junior who needed a little more extra motivation. So Coach Myers actually went no helmet on nothing, and he like went in the shoots with him, and pretty much they had like a quick um, little session in the shoots, and that was just part of the culture shift. Like we knew he was serious because he didn't hesitate for a second, came in, went full force with no equipment on, and that was one that stood out to me.
And did he do well doing that?
Yeah, he did very well.